What's going on? This is Skinny Andro Boy coming at you from Ferrari Lover HQ, aka my house, aka my own music studio. And I want to do a concert review of my recent trip to Los Angeles in December 2022. Before I do that, I'm going to give a quick tour into my lair, where I have been working on all kinds of music. This morning was up till 4 in the morning editing and ended up doing some recording like around 11 a.m. this morning. This video is going to be a review of the DAIS Records 15-year anniversary shows in LA in 2022. December of 2022, magical December of 2022. The Tamaryn All Eras show at the Regent in downtown Los Angeles with the original lineup, December 16th, 2022. And so the people at DAIS Records, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly because I've not actually spoken to anyone at the label per se, but they definitely know great music and great art. And I highly recommend Zebulon as a venue in the Silver Lake area. It's intimate, and while I personally feel that artists such as these should be able to support themselves very comfortably with their art, and I have, let's see, to give an example of that, I've got, well, I've got a Depeche Mode show there on in the background. They definitely support themselves uber comfortably, but my point is that the venue, Zebulon, was such an intimate, perfect place to see music. I mean, imagine seeing Depeche Mode at a small venue, and that's, I mean, I've seen The Cure up front in the front row at a stadium, which was incredible. I've seen Depeche Mode from further away, and it was just, it felt too far away. I have a real history and obsession with going to shows, as I think any true musician does. But Zebulon in particular, I really like the intimacy of that venue. And so if you're in the LA area or you're wondering if it's worth it to go to a show there, definitely. The sound was great. I mean, as you can tell just by the iPhone footage, and I apologize for that vertical footage, but I wasn't planning on, I didn't even have this channel yet and fully formed in my mind when I was up there filming it. And that was just an iPhone, and sound amazing. So yeah, you can see my faux pas of the century, which is to stack. Obviously, I listen to my records, and that's the point, but stacking vinyl. There's the beautiful Dero Arcade. I think I have a couple of copies of this. Dero Arcade, translucent, turquoise vinyl, Dreaming the Dark. And there's Body of Light. So Body of Light, I said hello to Andrew there and his brother. It was just such a great show. I'm so happy that I was standing right there appreciating such beautiful artistry. I mean, the synth lines, the production, they come from Arizona, a brother duo. I believe they're brother and brother, and just really well done. And unfortunately, there weren't as many people there, but there was definitely a crowd, and it was, in my opinion, just a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Any show like that where you just have great sound, great intimacy with the artist. We talked about the TC Helicon Voice Live for a minute after the show, but I might upload all the footage I have of Body of Light. Oh wait, no, but I can't do that, can I? Am I gonna get a copyright strike? I don't even know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what YouTube does, but you see fans uploading live shows all the time, so it's probably not a problem. And then, so yeah, that's the purple. Oh, is it no, this one? Yeah, I think it's purple, translucent vinyl. Just showing off my appreciation for DAIS Records, and I'm really sad that I didn't get to see Drab Majesty, because I'm truly have an obsession with Drab Majesty of late. At the Belasco, missed that show. And Cold Showers, by the way, were very good at Zebulon. I spoke to the guitarist. I didn't catch his name. We were talking about backing track players, which very hard to find a good backing track player at all. It pretty much doesn't exist. And he was telling me that was doing sound for the Tamaryn show, and I ended up extending my stay to make that show. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it. I was getting terrible migraines, and fuck migraines. And then ended up I was like, I can't miss this show. There's no way I can miss this show. So I ended up messaging Rex that I was going to come, and I went, and so that was great. Yeah, I'm trying to go through here. Oh yeah, Tempers is right here. Really, really digging this duo and their kind of house beats. Jasmine and Eddie, their sibling duo. He's got that Fender Telecaster that he's doing really interesting stuff with. This is their new release, if I'm not mistaken. I also got their release with Rem Koolhaas on vinyl. I think I have, I have one that I haven't even played yet, another Tempers down here. Obviously, my records are very well loved. And so Jasmine is a great artist in her own right in terms of visual art. She does really interesting collage, works on paper, and with my history working in art galleries and in the art world and all of that, when I was studying at Vassar in New York and in New York City working in galleries, I can definitely appreciate really everything that goes into it, because it's not just, oh, quote unquote, you're an artist, but you're actually highly, highly intelligent to make works like that. And so I have a degree in philosophy, and I studied philosophy of architecture in this really cool seminar. I had a professor there, Giovanna Bordori, she actually was Derrida's like close, how do you say? She was coming up and working with Derrida, and she's an Italian professor who really changed my life, expert in existentialism and also philosophy of architecture, oddly enough. And she was teaching at both Vassar and Columbia, and the Columbia School of Architecture there. So I'll never forget, one day I was standing in the hallway and she had to go because Jacques Derrida was literally staying at her house, and he had a problem, an emergency at the dentist in Manhattan. And she's like, I am so sorry, I have to go. Like, it was so, oh my God. Those were the days. It really changed my life studying there. But she taught several seminars, and I guess this is kind of in reference to Tempers here, Jasmine and Eddie, who did a collab record with Rem Koolhaas, who's a legendary Dutch architect and academic, really pushing the field of architecture forward. And yes, philosophy of architecture is a thing. So Giovanna was an expert, my professor in philosophy of architecture. And when I discovered that Tempers were really into it as well, to the point where they made a record with Rem Koolhaas, I thought, this is rad. And it definitely is. It's a great, I have the vinyl here somewhere. But so yeah, check them out. And Eddie's great with that Telecaster, and the light show, just unique and very much my aesthetic of things that I'm into. Ultra modern, contemporary design, architecture, philosophy. So let's get on to the Tamaryn show and talking about that. Suede, which is one of basically my all-time favorite band, but how could you choose, you know what I mean? But I can choose, or can I choose? I don't know. I guess, so I was in LA around 2013. I was briefly in a darkwave band in San Diego. Some people had recently been to right around when Some Ember was coming out, and that kind of, I don't know why the word dusty darkwave is coming to mind, but so, and I was briefly in a darkwave band. It didn't work out because there was just too many drugs around. And I was up in LA, and I met a guitarist guy online who was also super into Suede, and that's how we connected. And at that rehearsal, that was the first time that I discovered you can't see it, it's my secret weapon, favorite reverb pedal, Mr. Black. I'm just gonna say Mr. Black, Supermoon. So, he was telling me, the guy I was playing with, about the Tamaryn show that he had just been at. And at the time, I didn't even know what Spotify was. I was still just rocking CDs in the car and playing vinyl. My smallish collection, I guess, I had a lot from New York that I brought back, and San Diego when I worked in the dance vinyl shop. But So Spotify, I mean, screw Daniel Ek. That's all I have to say. But also, thankfully, there are brains like that who bring digital, you know, the ability to stream. I don't know. I feel like, dare I even say that? I think I'm just going to pretend I didn't say that. Let's bring back mini disc and CDs. I just feel that the things he said regarding artists just be, you know, relentlessly releasing music every 30 seconds is so offensive. Honestly, Daniel Ek, let's lock you in a mansion in the Hollywood Hills for a year, all expenses paid, whatever the heck you want. Come up with a couple of hit songs and get back to me. But so I found out about Tamaryn and Spotify the same day trip to LA when I was rehearsing with a guy that I met online in 2013, and we were bonding over Suede. And at the time, I wasn't as deep into studying guitar like I did when I was in Italy, so it was definitely a formative experience. I pretty much had a guitar in my hands since college, like when I actually sold my first set of turntables in order to buy my first guitar, which was a Fender Telecaster that I got in it was like a guitar shop in Union Square when I lived in New York. But I kind of getting all over the place now. So I first heard Tamaryn, and the reason it came up is because, you know, he had mentioned, I don't know if I said this or not, I'm really tired. I've been working a lot in the past week. It's Friday night. Yes, this is what I'm doing on a Friday night. I'm that in love with being a Ferrari lover. So he was telling me how Tamaryn also really liked Suede, he had heard. So that's how I got into that. Really fell in love with that sound, and just pretty much everything she touches is gold, just like a lot of these artists. But just a very special moment for me, because in the early 2000s, when I really got into shoegaze, My Bloody Valentine and Cocteau Twins and Spaceman 3 and Jesus and Mary Chain, Lush, I was just driving up and down the California freeways. I lived in Orange County, Long Beach, LA. I had not heard like any new shoegaze. And so when I heard The Waves, and then this is an incredible record that just doesn't get enough respect. I feel like she doesn't get all the recognition she deserves. I mean, that song, The Garden and Violets in a Pool, are you kidding me? So good. It's just, so yeah, that's how I really, it's super dark in here now. Just the whole history I had listening to Tamaryn, and I hadn't seen her live with Rex on guitar until this particular show, because like I said, last time I was in LA was the Crane Kiss tour. So yeah, and I did get, let's go over here to the pedalboard of doom, and this is super shoegaze lighting because I just don't feel like turning on bright lights right now. She hand did these shirts, and I got one with the minimal design that she, God, is it silk screen? I want to learn to hand make shirts, but very, very cool, super soft. I wasn't sure I was going to get one. I went into the merch area and I was like, this is going to be mine. Literally handmade by Tamaryn, and the woman working the merch table was very, very personable. This is literally, since I was unpacking from LA, has been in the same spot. And just an exceptional experience in general. All these shows are pretty much, I guess, what make the fabric of life if you're as in love with music as I am. And for me, also, as a musician, going to shows is so essential. And I went through a period where I'm trying to get the right light on this, but I just can't. Look at that. I feel like I should try to get, well, you know what? Shoegaze lighting. So, yeah, I went through a time where I was studying music so much, I just stopped going to shows. I stopped buying records, and that was super depressing. I mean, I became very depressed. I became very proficient, but lost the lost the, it's almost like lost the sex of it all. That's a direct quote, by the way, from Brett Anderson of Suede. Can you see him there? He's on my wall. He's like, sex is everything, isn't it? Although that was a really bad impersonation of him. I can do a better British accent, I promise. So yeah, oh, and I did go to a webinar that Tamaryn did. She started, she started a store called Major Arcana and handmaking clothes and doing her psychic tarot astrology deal. And the webinar was definitely over my head, but very refreshingly done. The guest guy that she had there giving the lecture was clearly very learned, and there's just so much astrological bullshit out there. Every random YouTube channel wants to tell you about, you know, the full moon and Leo and all this stuff, but it was a lecture about the lunar mansions, and if you're into that kind of thing, and I've always been very interested in the occult, and it has definitely gotten me into trouble because there's a lot of dangerous new age bullshit out there, like I said in my last F30 drive video. But yeah, so that was a great experience all around, and I hope you enjoyed my review of these shows. Close out with a little Dave Gahan taking off a shirt in the dark. I don't know. Yeah, so. Oh wait, or is it, look at it, Martin Gore himself. There is a legendary songwriter. Oh my God, like definitely, I mean, he's my hero. Both of them, but just, and rest in peace, Fletch. Please rest in peace, Fletch, or stay alive in the ether. All right. Thanks for watching and listening and supporting great artists, great music.